the blocking the plate thing was a topic for the rest of the night and carrying into the next game. And I don't remember which New York sports writer, but he found the memo that was sent to major league managers from Major League Baseball. And it showed the pictures like this is an illegal setup, whatever. This is blocking the plate, blah blah blah. And it says the catcher cannot have his foot on the plate at all. It comes out the next day, according to the Steve Gels of SNY, did his research and got in contact with Major League Baseball. There was an amendment to the rule, so a catcher can have his foot on the plate, but he has to give the runner a lane, which I do think, like we talked the night before, I do think Miguel Amaya did that. But I think the big issue for me is because obviously Carlos Mendoza, and that doesn't make Carlos Mendoza sound like an idiot because he knows the ins and outs of the game a lot more than I do. But no, he was very adamant because the crew chief left his microphone on at the end of the game. Thank you for that. I believe it was Chad Fairchild who was the crew chief. No, he's saying he's blocking the play, he's standing on the plate. That's the argument, and he carried that over into his post game press conference. But like Steve Gelb said the next day, Major League Baseball made this amendment to the rule. But I guess based off the Mendoza's comments and whatnot, he potentially wasn't aware of the amendment to the rule. So if that's the case, I think that's more. I put that more on Major League Baseball because of the memo they sent out saying you can't have any body put. Your foot can't be on the plate. You can't be blocking it. All that stuff. But obviously, you can in some regard. And obviously, I think with the amendment to the rule, my guy or Miguel Amaya did not break the rule. But just the fact that Major League Baseball in the memo they sent out didn't mention that to the managers, that's a problem in my mind.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, if you talk to Narvaez after the game, he spoke, and Mendoza spoke after the game, and I saw the memo, and it's clearly saying he can't stand on the plate. And I don't care because how the play eventually went. Um, and I will explain also why. One, I don't think it did really hinder Pete if he was stood on a plate or not. I think Pete is running and trying to score and not looking at where Amaya is standing. So um, you can argue if it's a done rule that you aren't allowed to stand on the plate or not. Um, but that's not the point that bugs me. The Mets have been told to to get the ball or to receive the ball as a catcher on a throw differently, which maybe in other plays have cost them the play because standing on the plate, you clearly are closer to tagging the runner who is coming to the plate than when you are standing in front of the plate. There's more movement needed with your glove and feet to get the tag down. So if you send that memo, it's not only display, which is obviously highlighted because it was a huge play in the game, but it could be a difference maker in a lot of other plays. I remember Harrison Bader, who went under a tag at home plate on a ground ball. I thought the catcher stood in front of the plate and missed Bader because he had to make more movement. So right now, with how Major League Baseball has operated this rule or with this memo, you see two different things, which right now the Cubs got help from, because I doubt if Amaya stood in front of the plate that Pete would be uh, out. I truly doubt that because you have to make more movement. So um, I definitely think earlier it didn't cost us with Bader, but right now the Mets catchers are positioned differently. So maybe in other points it did cost us. I can't remember it because it wasn't as big of a play. But having two types of, I mean, judgment rules. I think in rules it's you want to have those judgment things the least amount as possible to make it a even field. And right now, with another addition to this rule, if you send that memo, stick to the memo. Point. And they didn't stick to the memo, and Pete should be safe at that point. Even if you can argue if it would be any different if he stood in front of the plate, didn't hinder Pete, I think as well that you saw on the replay that you at least couldn't overturn it that he was safe with his hand. He might be safe, but I think you couldn't overturn that. I think, by the way, as well, the umpire was in a terrible position because I don't think people say great call by the umpire, but I don't think that the umpire saw the hand of Pete Alonso in the air from the position where he stood. I highly doubt that. So uh, I think it was a weird call because the hand was obviously there earlier, and I doubt that the umpire saw that his hand was up. That's another thing I wanted to add.